How's it going, everybody? In this video, we're going to go ahead and take a look at our next topic when it comes to VXLAN, where we're going to actually be taking a look at doing a VPC between Nexus 9000v and Nexus 9000v. And that's going to be a VPC down to PC11. And once we have that in play, so what this is going to allow us to do is provide a secondary path for the connections to the firewalls. So we're going to get ASA 12, we're going to get him up and running, but we're going to do a HA pairing. So at a high level, we're going to get Nexus 9000v6 configured. So we're almost going to take the config for 9000v and copy it into Nexus 9000v6 so we can get him online. Then we're going to have to set up a VPC so that 9000v and 9000v6 can be a VPC peer or a pairing, and then use .56 for the loopback 0 interface IPs as a secondary address so we can have Anycast VTAP deployed. Then we have to set up a connection down to switch 6 with a port channel, with a LACP enabled port channel. And then switch 6 will have to be trunk links down to ASA 11 and ASA 12, and then we're going to have to configure ASA 11 and 12 to be in a stateful failover type of scenario. So we have a lot to unpack in this video. So before we get started, let's go, actually, no more talking. Let's go ahead and dive into what we're going to go ahead and do. So I'm going to go ahead and, before I get started here, I wish I could get rid of this annoying cough, to be honest with you. I'm going to go take E1/1 and I'm going to set up a capture point for it so we can see the Wireshark stuff going on with it. And I'm only going to do one capture in this particular video because I want to have, I'm going to put that down here in the bottom. Alright, so here this is going to go, and I'm going to shrink this up a little bit, just like that. So we'll have that going for us. Have you been disconnected? Excuse me? That's a first. Alright, there we go. So I'm also going to pull up Secure CRT, and this is going to sit at the top half because we're going to have to do a lot of configuration. So the first thing we're going to have to go do on Nexus 9000v6 is go through the process of getting him online. So we'll go ahead and log into him real quick. And what we're going to have to make sure is that things like OSPF are running in the underlay, show IP route. And OSPF is running in the underlay. We do show IP mroute. Let's do show run or show IP PIM RP. We do have multicast working, so show run PIM. We should have it configured there. Perfect, excellent. That's exactly what we need. And so now that we have that in play, the next thing is to do show run BGP, and I don't think BGP is configured yet, and it's not. That's our next big one because we want to have BGP set up in order to do what we need to do. So basically, let's take Nexus 9000v, let's look at his configuration, and then we're going to piecemeal the actual full running config of our 9000v and get 9000v6 up and running. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. Let's go ahead and do this on 9000v. It's going to be a quick show run, and this is going to be important for you to break this down. I'm hoping that this will help with the fully understanding of how all this stuff comes together. So let me go ahead and grab from NV overlay EBPN. Let's go ahead and grab all this, and I will remove anything that isn't necessary. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Notepad and bring Notepad over. I'm going to dump this config into Notepad, and what I'm going to do is start at the top and work our way down. So we're going to leave all this stuff enabled. I'm going to take all this stuff right here and get rid of it. None of this information is necessary. And the fabric forwarding will be, the fabric forwarding feature is going to get turned on. We're going to need the VLAN information is there. We're going to need the prefix list to do the default route. We're going to need the VRF customer 1, the context, the default route. We don't need this. We don't need this. Go ahead and get rid of that, and that's going to work out just fine. That's exactly what we need there too. We don't need any of the interface configs though. Let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and get rid of those. Those aren't necessary. Right now I'm going to get rid of the interface config right here, because we're going to do that in a different section. I'm not ready to set up VPC yet. So I'm going to get rid of all these interfaces. I think there's 128 of them. So we're going to get rid of that guy and schwack that. And so right now I don't have a VPC set up on this switch at all. So right now this is the configuration. And the order that we're going to need to do it is you have your features, then you have your VLAN, right? You got VLAN 10, VLAN 100. They're both associated to a specific VN segment. And then we have our Vrf context to do our layer 3 VNI. And then we have our VLAN 10 configuration squared away, VLAN 100 for doing layer 3 VNI. The NVE interface is set up. We have the loopback. That isn't necessary for right now. We don't need that deployed. We don't need any of this either. So this is the minimum config. We need the features. We need the Fabric 40 multicast, anycast gateway, and all that other stuff looks good. So this is pretty much what we need in order for us to get 9K6 online. So I'm just going to copy all this into 9K6, go to global config, and I'm just going to paste this in. And it's going to take some time for all this to get pushed. The control plane is going to take some time having to get it all set up and squared away. So this will take a moment or two to do its thing. So once it's in place though, we'll be able to take it to the next step, which is deploying the VPC. But we have to get this part done first so that we can at least have 9K6 squared away so that it can start pulling in the data for regular BGP configuration. So if we were to do a show BGP L2VPN EVPN, we're going to start learning stuff, which is what we want to have, right? We want to be able to have that connectivity, which we do. So this is really, really important. So now that we have this in play, the next step for us to go through and do is to go and set up the VPC. So on 9K5 and 9K6, I'm going to go ahead and go to global config. I'm going to do a feature LACP, and do something on 9K6, feature LACP, and on 9K5, once these guys come back, it'll be feature VPC, and then we'll set the VPC up and go through all that. So feature VPC, feature VPC. Now that that's been turned on, I get to go ahead and start creating things. So I need to create the Vrf context of VPC. And I need to go to interface E1/4, which is this guy right here. This is going to be our peer keep alive. I'm going to type in underneath E1/4. There it goes. I'm going to type in no switch port, turn it to a routed port. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and type in Vrf member is going to be VPC. Same thing on this guy. So we're going to type in interface E1/4. And then underneath here, no switch port. And then actually, and I need to go ahead and create the Vrf context of VPC. Interface E1/4. Vrf member VPC. And then we're going to say IP address here will be 10.5.6.6/24. No shut. Same thing on 5. IP address here will be 10.5.6.5/24. No shut. And what I'm going to go do now is create the VPC domain. So VPC domain will be 56. So Nexus 5K and Nexus 6K. I'm going to come in here and say the peer keep alive will be destination 10.5.6.6. Source is going to be 10.5.6.5 inside of Vrf VPC. And then on Nexus 9K6, same thing. VPC domain of 56. We're going to set the peer keep alive to be destination 10.5.6.5 with a source of 10.5.6.6 in Vrf VPC. We do show VPC, we should see that the peer is alive, which is good for us to see. Okay, everything looks good there. We don't have a peer link deployed yet, so that's going to be the next thing we have to go do. And we're going to do that Nexus 9K6. We're going to type in interface E1/5 through 6. I'm going to turn this to be a switch port mode of trunk. And then we're going to say the channel group 56 mode of active. Same thing on 5. So we're going to type in interface E1/5 through 6. We're going to type in it is a switch port. We are in the switch port mode of trunk. And the channel group of 56 mode active. So LA actively trying to set up an LACP peering between these two guys. Now that that's done, I'm going to go to interface port channel 56. And I'm going to type in VPC 56. Same thing over right here. So interface port channel 56, VPC 56. Alright, so now that's done, we'll do show VPC again. And once that comes online, this does take some time to trigger. So if you're in a hurry, don't be. So peer link not configured. Give it a couple of minutes. Usually it takes a couple of seconds for it to trigger. So a show VPC. And oh, that's right, I forgot one step. So underneath we're going to type in VPC and then the peer link command. I forgot that. So VPC peer link. Now that that's been applied, show VPC, and now we can see once the peer status has been established, we'll see that everything is working the way that it needs to. This does take a couple of seconds, so if you're in a hurry, be patient. So let's do a show interface status, make sure that the interfaces are good to go. Oh, they're disabled, that's why. So we're going to type in interface E1/5 to 6, no shut. I did not realize that they were shut down. So interface E1/5 to 6, no shut. And then show VPC. Peer link not configured. We'll give that a couple more seconds to do its thing. Show interface status. So we have a VPC config. Peer link not configured. Show run interface port channel 56. That's definitely configured. Peer link not set up. So let's go to interface PO56. Show interface status. I don't know why we're getting VPC config. So show VPC consistency parameters global. Did I miss a step? I don't think so. That is weird. Very weird. So we're going to do a show VPC again. Peer link not configured. So we're going to do show VPC consistency parameters VPC 56. And it is currently not working for some reason. Show run interface port channel 56. Okay, so that's configured. So show port channel summary. They're both down. Show interface status. So interface E1/5 to 6. Let's go ahead and shut it down. See what the malfunction is here, and then no shut. Interesting. I'm kind of perplexed as to why we're having a problem. VPC config. I want to say it's progress, but something tells me that's not the output. So, not sure why that's giving me a hard time. So what I can do is I can turn off the VPC and troubleshoot this. So let me go to VPC domain 56 and shut it down. Do the same thing on 5. So VPC domain 56 shut. And then what I'm going to go do is show run interface E1/5 switch port mode trunk. Right, so it's in the correct mode. What I can do is default interface E1/5 to 6. Bring that back to its defaults. Default interface E1/5 to 6. And reset those back to their normal. Okay, so show interface status. Now they're connected. Ironic. So what I'm going to go do is back to interface E1/5 to 6 and switch port. Show interface status. And then switch port mode of trunk. Now they're trunk links. And then I'm going to go ahead and channel group 56 mode of active. VPC config. Okay. Let me go ahead and pull this command off. Oh, let me make sure that the interface isn't still there. Show run interface PO56. No interface PO56. Let's remove the port channel config at the moment and retry that. Because you don't need the VPC turned on in order for the port channel to come online. So interface E1/5 to 6. Show interface status. Now they're both back up and running. And show run interface E1/5. We'll do the channel group 56 mode of active. Do show interface status. Not connected. So the other side isn't working currently, and that's fine. So we'll type in interface E1/5 to 6. We will go ahead and specify the switch port command, and then switch port mode of trunk. And then once this is in play, we can go ahead and say channel, let's do no interface PO56. Go back underneath this guy, channel group 56 mode of active. So give that a couple seconds to do its thing. Show interface status. Not connected. Let's see, is this side? There it goes. Connected on this side and connected on this side. Perfect. So now that we know that the port channel is up, show port channel summary. Perfect. Now this is where we needed to be. Show run interface PO56. And then underneath interface PO56, we get to go underneath here and type in the VPC of 56. And then same thing on this side here, interface PO56. And we're going to specify VPC 56. So we'll do a show VPC. So as soon as this figures itself out, oh, and we have to say VPC peer link. That's one thing I keep forgetting to put in there. VPC peer link. Show VPC. Okay, so we're still having a problem with peer link is not configured, peer keep alive. Did I not show run? Oh, it's because the VPC is down. That's why. Show run VPC. I've got the VPC shut down. So VPC domain 56 no shut. Show run VPC. VPC domain 56. No shut. Okay, let's say show VPC this time. Okay, so we're going to give this some time to figure itself out. The peer is alive, which is what we want to see. Peer link says it's not configured. Show run interface PO56. The peer link is... So let me go back underneath interface PO56. No VPC 56. And we're going to type in VPC peer link instead. I think that's where I'm making my mistake. Show run interface PO56. Yeah, interface PO56. No VPC 56. And then VPC peer link. Show run interface PO56. Show VPC. Okay, that's actually moving in the right direction now. As you can see, it's down. Once this comes online, we should be better. So show port channel summary. So we are still up and active. So the port channel is good to go. So the actual port channel itself is active. Show VPC. Peer link is down. Show IP interface brief. We won't see it here. The loopback is currently down. So that's kind of weird. Show run interface NVE1. Okay. So we're going to do a show VPC again. So in this case here, we're going to flap the port channel. So interface PO56. I'm going to go ahead and say shut it down to flap the peer link. The peer link is the interconnectivity that allows the data plane traffic from, say, switch 6 to come into, say, Nexus 9K6. And in the event that the upstream connections on Nexus 9K6 are down, to ride across the VPC peer link over towards the uplinks on Nexus 9K5. So I'm going to go ahead and no shut that and see if we can't trigger the update this way. So it's kind of a weird conundrum that we're in at the moment, but we'll figure it out. So if we look at show port channel summary. Okay, we're in suspended mode. We're having problems with this, and this is where the troubleshooting piece comes into play. Show VPC here. Peer link is down. So show VPC consistency parameters global. So everything's looking, it's not even able to communicate to the peer, and that's the problem. Show VPC and show port channel summary. Yeah, we're in suspended mode for some reason. Let me go ahead and show interface status, and we are in suspended. So interface E1/5 to 6, shut it down. On this side here, we're going to go ahead and show interface status. We are initializing interface E1/5 to 6, shut, just to trigger it. See if we can't figure this out. Alright, well, it took a minute or two for that to actually trigger, so I'm going to go ahead and say no shut on both sides to see if I can't get this to trigger and fix the VPC issue. So we're going to do a show interface status, and we are in not connected. Ironic. Show interface status. Connected on this side now, which is good. Connected here, show VPC. All right, there we go. Hey, what do you know? Woohoo! So that was a lot of troubleshooting, but this is how you get better at the technology, right? Is by seeing, trying to get it to fix itself. So right now, the other thing that we need to go do is get the secondary IP address squared away. So what we're going to do is underneath interface loopback 0, if we do a show IP interface brief, you'll notice that the link is down, which is, I'm kind of concerned about that. But anyway, we're going to go underneath here. We'll type in IP address here. Will be 10.0.0.56/32, and we're going to put a secondary on there. Same thing on 5. So interface loopback 0. We're going to go ahead and type in IP address here of 10.0.0.56/32 secondary. Okay. And we're going to go ahead underneath NVE1, interface NVE1. We're going to bounce the interface and then no shut it. Interface NVE1, shut, and then no shut to trigger that, because then any of the updates that we send are now going to come from .56 and not .5 or .6. So show IP interface brief. Protocol down, admin up. That's really weird. I'm not sure why we have that. Show BGP, L2 VPN, eVPN. We are learning information, which is good, because we are learning from 13, so we know we have that stuff coming across. Show VPC. All right, so we have everything good to go. So we have the peer adjacency is formed okay, the peer is alive, we have consistency checks across the board. All right, now that we've got it to this point, the next step is the VPC down to switch 6. So let's go ahead and knock out that real quick. So we're going to go to interface E1/3. We're going to go ahead and type in switch port mode of trunk, and then we're going to type in channel group, and we'll say 11 mode of active. Going to go over to Nexus 9000v, show VPC. Everybody's happy there. We're going to go down to interface E1/3, switch port mode of trunk, and then the channel group of 11 mode of active. And then what we will do is interface PO11. We'll type in here VPC 11 and do the same thing on 9K6. Give that a couple seconds to trigger. Interface PO11, VPC 11. Now that that's been done and that's good to go, we're going to go down to PC or switch 6. In this particular case, switch 6 is hanging out. Got to, there it is. No, that's not it. I don't have switch 6 pulled up. Ironic. Okay, so I'm just going to click on switch 6. There we are. Oh, that was already in there. It was just hanging out way over here. Alright, so what I get to go do is go to global config and go to, I'm going to say default interface range gig 00 through 1 and interface range gig 0/0 through 1. I'm going to go ahead and say shutdown. So I'm just going to admin them down so that I can go ahead and say the switch port trunk and cap.1q switch port mode of trunk, and then I'm going to specify the channel protocol is going to be LACP and the channel group 11 mode of active. And I'm going to go ahead and type in no shut, and that should bring my port channel online. Give that a couple of seconds to do its thing. I have line protocol of both interfaces is up, and my port channel should come online here in just a second. Do show ether channel summary. We have a small problem here. Show VPC, and beautiful, the port channel is up here, and show VPC here, and oh, 11's got a problem, but we will give that a couple seconds to do its thing. It's I'm not going to be terribly concerned with that. So we can do a show VPC consistency parameters for interface E1/3. Doesn't apply, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at VPC 11, and we are seeing that there is a small problem with communication between the two. So show VPC, and currently we have a problem with this side. So Nexus 9000v has got a problem. This side is good to go, and maybe it's just I'm not giving it enough time to do its thing. I'm going to go to interface E1/3, and I'm going to shut down the link. I'm just going to try to flap it to see if that'll help, and then no shut. And we'll see if this is working now. Show VPC, and give it some time. Show interface status. Not connected. Let's see why we're not connected. Oh, there, so it's aggregated on this side. Wonder if 9000v came through now. There we go. Show VPC. Boom. Okay, just needed to give it some time, folks. Just some time. All right, now that we got that in play, the next thing for us to go do is on switch 6 is on. We do show VLAN brief. We have VLAN 10 created, and if we look at what port is that? Gig 2 and Gig 3. Matter of fact, I'm going to break this up into a second part. So this will be part 1. Part 2 will be doing all the finishing the config, the switch and the ASAs. We're going to do the high availability and then the verification, because we're already at the 32-minute mark. So this will be a 2-parter. Until next time, guys, I'll see you guys in the next video.